Hey guys, welcome to my class Python for Beginners, and this is lecture number 18. And today we are going to study about files and modules. So let's not waste any more time and begin by talking about modules. So a module is a file containing Python definitions and statements intended for use in other Python programs. There are many Python modules that come with Python as part of the standard library. For example, let's open our Python shells and write something like import math, and then we say math.log. You want to calculate the log of 8 in base 2, and using the log function that is provided by the math library, and to use that library you are trying to import that library or that file, and it's called the using the import command. And now this is 3 plus 2 to the cube 2 to the power 3 is 8. Now math module has certain functions, and to call that functions you need to import the math module, and the function call now looks something like, let's say you want to import a module, the name module, and if you want to invoke some function, then you invoke it using module dot function name with some arguments. Alright, now you can also directly import a function name, import a function from module using this. So import function name from module. Now you can directly call the function. So now let's say you imported log from math. Oops. I don't know why this doesn't work. Alright, let me think. This should have worked. Oh yes. From math import log. Yeah, that's fine. So now, okay, now to use the log function, you don't have to say math.log. Now you can just say log 8 base 2 and it's 3. Okay, let's study about how we can create our own modules. So all we need to create a module is a text file with a .py extension on the file name. So let's open a new file. Okay, and let's call this file let's call this file sectools.py. Yeah, okay, whatever. So let's write a function here. We move at position and sequence. We return sequence from 0 to the position -1 plus sequence position +1 to, basically you want to remove the character at the given position and return the original string without the current position. Okay, now let's open a new file and call this some test script, test.py. Okay, now in this file I want to call the function remove at. What I do is I say from sectools I want to import remove at. Now I say s is equal to a string, and I want to remove at. I want to print the return value of remove at on this current string at position 4, and instead of a string it returns a string, because the character at position number 4 is 1, 2, 3 and 4. Oops, 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it has removed the character R. Okay, another way to do this was you could have just said import sectools and now print move sectools dot removal. Same result. Okay, so the next topic for today is on reading and writing files. So while a program is running, its data is stored in the RAM. RAM is fast and inexpensive, but it is also volatile, which means that when the program ends or the computer shuts down, data in the RAM disappears. To make the data available the next time you turn your computer and start a program, you have to write it to a non-volatile storage medium such as a hard drive, a USB, or a CD drive. Okay, so data on non-volatile storage is stored in named location on the media called files. By reading and writing files, programs can save information between program runs. Working with files is a lot like working with a notebook. To use a notebook, you have to open it. When you're done, you have to close it. While the notebook is open, you can either write in it or read from it. In either case, you know where you are in the notebook. You can read the whole notebook in its natural order, or you can skip around. So all of this applies to files as well. To open a file, you can specify its name and indicate whether you want to read or write. Let's just begin with a new example. Okay, let's remove all this. Here are sectools files. You don't want it. Okay. So first up, I say my file is something. I'm going to open this file test.txt in writing mode. Okay. Now I want to write something to my file. This is my first file written from Python. Okay. Now I want to close my file. Alright. So let's run this and let's see if it has created our file. It was called the test.txt file and here it is. We open this and it says my first file written from Python. It's that simple, guys. So opening a file creates what we call a file handle. So my file is a file handle. In this example, the variable my file refers to a new handle object. Our program calls methods on the handle, and this makes changes to the actual file, which is usually located on our disk. On line number 1, the open function takes two arguments. The first is the name of the file and second is the mode. Mode means that we are opening the file for writing, the W in quotes. So with the mode W, if there is no file named test.txt in place, it will be created. If there is already one, it will be replaced by the file we are writing. So next time you already created this file, so you just comment out this, and this is my first. You just say my second line written from Python. Now do F5. Oops. Okay. So now the second time you want to write it, you want to open this file again, but this file already exists. You hit F5 again. Now you try to open the file, and voila, it says my second file written from Python. Now let's say you want to write another line to it. So you can say my file.write my second line. Now you do F5 again, close this, and you open the file, and it has both the lines now, right? Okay. So to put data in the file, we invoke the write method on the handle in the second and third lines. So in bigger programs, lines number 2 and 3 will usually be replaced by a loop that writes many more lines into the file. Closing the file, which we have done in line number 4, tells the system that we are done writing and makes the disk file available for reading by other programs or by our own program. Now let's talk about how we can read a file one line at a time. So now that the file exists on our computer, we can open it, this time for reading, and read all the lines in the file one at a time. This time the mode of the argument should be R. So let's keep the let's change the mode from W to R. Alright, so now, okay, so I write while true. So my file dot read line. So read line is a method that reads the file one at a time, one line at a time. So I say current line is equal to my file of read line. So if length of the current line is equal to 0, I want to break from this while loop. Otherwise I want to print my current line. Okay, so what does this program do is, while true is an infinite loop because the condition of the while is true and it always holds. This true is always true, or it is true. So this is an infinite loop. In the infinite loop, I take a variable current line and I assign it the current value of the line read through this method of the file object, read line method. So if it reaches the end of the program, the last line which will be read will have some value. The next line will have a length of 0. So my second line was the last line of my valid last line of my file. After that the file was empty. There was nothing in that file. So now the length of the file, when the read line reaches the end of the file, it reads a line with value with length nothing, basically an empty file. So I check if the current line has length 0, then you just break, because I don't want to go any further because I have reached the end of the file, and otherwise I just want to print the lines that I had got. So now if you do F5, it has basically read both the lines. Okay, so, and if you try to open a file that doesn't exist, we should generally get an error. Let's say you want to write, now in the case of read, if the file wasn't there, the system actually creates, Python actually creates a file for you. But if you open a file for reading mode and then file doesn't exist, then it should throw an error. Let's say we call the file maybe .txt. So if you do F5, it says error, no such file or directory. There's no such file. You can't open it for reading. You can open it for writing. In that case, it will create a new file, but you can't read a file that doesn't exist. Okay. So now I'm going to tell you how to turn a file into a list of lines. So let's have the first, second line same. And now you just write some variable access is equal to my file dot read lines method. So read lines method, and let's see what happens if we try to print access. You do an F5. Oops. This file doesn't exist. Test.txt and F5. So what has happened here is it takes the current line, it takes the file and converts all of the lines into a list. Okay. Now you can actually read the whole file at once. How you do it is using the read method. You say my file.read, in read print access, it reads the whole file at once. Now you might actually want to split the contents of a file into something. Let's say you read the file all at once and now you want to find how many words are there in the file. So for that you just read the file all at once using this method, my file.read. Finally the number of words is equal to access dot split. We have already read about the split method, and now you say that there are percentage words in the file. We say length of words. So split method will split your whole string that you have read all at once into the different number of words. By default it takes the space. How you do F5? So there are 9 words in the file. And is that true? So let's open our file, text file, and see if that's true or not. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Voila, there are 9 words. Okay. So in case you want to read a file, you can also leave out the R word itself, because by default if you don't supply the mode, Python opens the file for reading. Same. So guys, that's it for now, and see you in our next class on exceptions and errors. Thank you.